Why do so many of us put on masks that hide who we really are in social situations? Is it because we're afraid of being rejected, or because we want to be accepted that makes us put on these masks? This widespread tendency to put other people's approval over our own authenticity has a big effect on our mental health and confidence. It's a sign of a deeper problem. Our battle to stay true in a world that values conformity over honest speech. Epictetus, a wise Stoic philosopher, said, "We have 2 ears and 1 mouth, so we can listen twice as much as we speak. But how often do we silence our own voices to conform to what we think others want from us? We say yes to extra work we don't want to do. We laugh along with jokes that don't make us laugh, or we hide our true feelings to keep up appearances of harmony. Each act of conformity hurts our self-respect and inner peace. A constant rejection of our personal truths doesn't just make us feel bad for a short time. It creates a deep sense of self-doubt. We start to question our own values and decisions, which feeds into a cycle of anxiety dominated by the fear of being judged. This fear can stop us from acting in an honest way, trapping us in a cycle of stress and unhappiness. So how can we break free from trying to please other people and build a life that honors who we really are? Today we're going to look into this question, but first I want to give you a little challenge. Watch this movie all the way through so you don't miss any important Stoic philosophy lessons. Come with us on a trip to learn deep lessons that will help you live a truly fulfilling life. Part 1. Understanding and pleasing other people. People often use the word pleasant in casual talk, but it's more than just a behavior quirk. It's a deep psychological pattern in which people put other people's happiness and approval above their own needs. This tendency has many psychological causes, such as low self-esteem, fear of being rejected, and sometimes deeper problems like past traumas or the need to be in charge in settings that are hard to predict. It could be a survival strategy or a counterproductive one, but many people in today's society believe that being dependent on others is the only way to feel safe and included. As a result, many of them act in ways that make others feel good, and a shocking 95% of those who identify as people pleasers do this to some degree. Pleasers say that this trait has a big bad effect on their confidence. This high percentage isn't just a number, it shows a common problem. People don't say no or stand up for themselves because they're afraid of being rejected or making other people angry. So why do so many people feel this way? To please, people fight with confidence. The answer lies in the fact that constantly sacrificing oneself and holding back one's own wants and views is tiring and destroys one's sense of self-worth and identity. On top of that, people are always afraid of being rejected, which makes this even worse. Their lack of confidence is also caused by pleasers. They think that if they don't do this for them, they won't like me, which is a dangerous belief for any relationship, personal or professional. Research in social psychology backs this up. People pleasers are more likely to have social anxiety and sadness, both of which are closely linked to having low self-esteem and confidence, according to research. Part 2. The Stoic point of view on being real. Stoic philosophy, which is a branch of Hellenistic thought, encourages people to live in harmony with nature and stresses the importance of developing personal virtues as the way to true happiness. This ancient wisdom says that moral virtue is the only thing that is good, and moral vice is the only thing that is bad. Everything else, like money, health, and even other people's opinions, are not inherently good or bad. One of the most important ideas in Stoicism is that people should be true to themselves and live in line with their logical and social nature. The Stoics say that being real comes from living by reason, which is in line with our nature as rational beings. They say that by focusing on one's own values instead of the shifting sands of external approval, one can reach a stable and serene state of mind. This inward focus is important for developing personal integrity and self-respect, which are lost when one lives primarily to please others or meet their expectations. In his personal writings, Marcus Aurelius, the Roman emperor and Stoic philosopher, gives us deep insights into how to follow Stoic ideals. In the Meditations, he talks about how important it is to think about yourself and take responsibility for your actions. He says that you have control over your mind, not outside events. Understand this, and you will be strong. This passage shows the Stoic view that real power and authenticity come from being able to control your own actions and reactions, not from trying to control how other people see or respond to you. Epictetus, another important Stoic thinker, wrote a lot about authenticity in his works. He tells his students to focus on their own actions and decisions, which they can control, rather than events or opinions that are outside of them. For example, he famously said, "If you want to be a writer, write." This simple advice encapsulates the Stoic commitment to acting based on internal values rather than external validation. Epictetus tells his followers to define themselves by the choices and actions they make on purpose. This supports the Stoic idea that being real means living by your ideals and being rational. Stoicism also teaches that the pursuit of virtue should be steady and unwavering, no matter what pressures or situations are happening around you. This quest involves the good traits of knowledge and bravery. Justice, temperance, and courage are all things that lead to an honest and true life. For example, courage isn't just being brave in fight. It's also being brave to be yourself when other people want you to be someone else. Being fair to others and getting along with others is part of justice. But being true to yourself and not giving up on important beliefs is also part of justice. Stoics also thought that living in harmony with nature meant being open to what life had to offer. They believed that by aligning one's actions with one's true nature, rational and good people could achieve eudaimonia, which is often translated as flourishing or the good life. This state is not defined by temporary happiness or material success, but by the peace, resilience, and satisfaction that come from living a life of virtue. When it comes to fighting the urge to please others, Stoicism offers a compelling framework. It encourages individuals to Stoic practice of daily self-examination or thinking about one's own words, deeds, and actions helps to keep this focus on being real, meaning it helps people figure out if their actions are in line with their values and what changes they might need to make to stay that way. Stoics stress authenticity, which is more than just being honest. It means aligning one's life with the deep principles that govern a well-lived life. This alignment frees people from the tyranny of external expectations and lets them live with integrity, no matter what the outside circumstances are. In the writings of Marcus Aurelius Epictetus and other Stoic philosophers, we learn that authenticity is more than just being slightly true to yourself. It means committing deeply to the good and rational way that makes up our very nature. Those people-pleasers can stop trying to get others to like them and start working on their own virtues instead. This will help them live a more genuine and satisfying life. This change is good for the person and for their community because it leads to real interactions based on virtue and mutual respect instead of fake approval. Please let us know what you think about this. Do you agree with the Stoic view on being real? Please share your thoughts in the section 3 comments. The effects of not being yourself, acting in an honest way, especially when it's to please other people at the cost of your own values, can have serious effects on your mental health and sense of self. Good health. Stoicism's strong focus on living in line with one's true nature and beliefs gives us a critical lens through which to look at these effects. The first result was loss of self-identity. It's all too easy to lose sight of who we really are when we try to please other people. Take the example of a hard-working employee who, in order to please her bosses, consistently ignores her own career goals and well-being. Over time, she may not be able to figure out what she really wants from her career because she's so used to putting her own goals aside. Can you relate to giving up your own dreams just to fit someone else's mold? Do you sometimes put off what you really want, even if you don't know it? A wise Stoic thinker named Marcus Aurelius warns us about this very thing. Stoic thought says that a person who lives in harmony with himself also lives in harmony with the universe. When we ignore our own nature to please others, we not only lose our identity, we also come into conflict with the cosmos, which they say is rational and orderly. Each time we deny our true selves, we deny the very essence that connects us to the bigger picture of existence. This disconnect shows up in both professional and personal relationships. When people are just a part of other people's lives, they don't know where they fit in. How can we take back our identity and live a life that is true to who we are? We need to start by asking ourselves some important questions. What do I value? What do I love? Are I acting because I want to be liked or because it's in line with who I really am? Remember that you control your mind, not outside events. If you understand this, you will find great strength. As Aurelius states that reclaiming your true self isn't just about being happy, it's also about living in harmony with nature, which leads to a life of virtue and fulfillment. By doing this, you can start to piece together the pieces of your identity again, which will lead to a more authentic, peaceful, and ultimately successful life. People lose trust in relationships when they change their actions and words to please others. Aren't we building our relationships on sand? Imagine a friend who always agrees with you, never disagrees with you, and shares your opinions even though they know they change over time. Wouldn't you start to question whether they're telling you the truth? How can you trust someone when you think their agreement is just a way to get your favor? Epicus, a staunch supporter of Stoic wisdom. Exactly right. If you want to be loved, love. True connection comes from genuine respect and sincerity, not from exchanging favors or agreeable nods. When sincerity is missing from relationships, they start to fall apart at the seams because people feel manipulated instead of valued, which leads to distrust and a weakening of bonds between people. Imagine a workplace where a manager always praises their team's ideas, no matter how useful or practical they are. At first, this might make things more pleasant, but soon the team may start to doubt the manager's judgment and honesty. Is indiscriminate praise really the basis of good leadership? Stoic ideals tell us that the answer is a resounding no. If we want to live a happy life, we must, to build relationships based on trust and honest communication, start by looking at how you connect with others. Marcus Aurelius said, "Be honest in your words and deeds. If you follow this advice, you'll not only improve your relationships, but you'll also create a life that is peaceful, happy, and deeply satisfying." Make authenticity your cornerstone, and watch as your relationships turn into real partnerships built on the solid ground of the third effect, extra stress and anxiety. How often do you stay up at night thinking about what you said in a conversation and wondering if you did the right thing to keep the peace or make someone happy? This constant worry comes from having to figure out what other people want you to do and change how you act to meet those needs. A load that can make people very mentally and emotionally tired. Take the example of Anna, a young professional who always agrees to take on extra work even though she already has a lot on her plate. She does this out of a fear of conflict, but over time, the stress of juggling too many responsibilities just to avoid saying no has left her feeling tired and tense all the time. Stoic philosophers once said that we suffer more in our minds than in real life. This is especially true for people who put other people's approval above their own. People-pleasers often live in a constant state of stress because they imagine being rejected or in a fight. This stress can show up in the form of physical symptoms like headaches and insomnia, as well as mental health problems like anxiety and depression. What can we do to relieve this stress that we put on ourselves? The Stoic approach says we should focus on controlling our own actions and reactions instead of worrying about what other people think. You can come to terms with the fact that you can't please everyone and that being turned. Accepting that you are not perfect can help you feel a lot less anxious because it lets you live more honestly and make choices based on your values and honesty. Take a moment to think about whether your actions are based on your true self or on your fear of how other people will react. Marcus Aurelius says that people are upset by their own judgments, not by events that happen. By changing your perspective and acting in line with your true self, instead of what other people expect of you, you can create a more peaceful, happy, and successful life. Let this knowledge free you from the chains of trying to please other people, lead you to a road of less stress and more personal fulfillment. Besides the 3 effects listed above, what other effects do you think lying to people to please them has? Please share your thoughts in the comments. The 4th part of Stoic Solutions for Building Confidence talks about Stoic ways to boost confidence. Stoicism offers useful ways to boost confidence by focusing on inner strength, reason, and virtue. Solution number 1. Focus on what you can control. Epictetus, a Stoic philosopher, made it clear that some things are under our control and others are not. By adopting this idea, you can greatly lower unnecessary stress and boost real confidence. It starts with figuring out what you can change and what you have to accept. For example, you can't change the weather, the traffic, or your boss's mood, but you can change how you react to each situation. Ask yourself how often you think about things you can't change in your life and how that affects your mental and emotional health. Then, shift your attention to things you can change, like how hard you work. Being honest and having a good mood help you get through life better. You become proactive instead of reactive, which makes you more confident and strong. Marcus Aurelius once said, "Don't waste time arguing about what a good man should be. Be that man." Let this be a call to action. Start today by thinking of one thing in your life that you've tried to control but can't. Then, focus your energy on something you can change or improve. This tough practice will not only help you feel less anxious, but it will also give you the tools to live a happier, more confident life. Accept what you can change and let go of what you can't. Your life will become more peaceful, happy, and successful. Solution number 2 for the journey: be good and honest. Stoicism teaches that the only way to really be sure of yourself is to live a good, honest life. Imagine a world where being honest guides every choice you make. If you were committed to personal growth and justice, how would this change how you see yourself and how you treat other people? Seneca, a Stoic philosopher, said that a person's worth is based on what he values. This means that if you value virtue and act with integrity, your sense of self-worth will naturally rise. Think about a business leader who has to decide whether to cut corners to make more money or stick to ethical practices, even if it means spending more in the short term. By doing the right thing, the leader not only keeps their reputation, but also builds trust by knowing they are doing the right thing. How often do you give up what you believe in? When things get tough, Do you go along with the crowd, or stick to what you believe? Being good means making tough decisions, sometimes at the cost of personal gain or fame. It means sticking to what is right and having a clear sense of what is right and wrong. That you do the right thing and the rest doesn't matter is what Marcus Aurelius wrote. Let this be your guide. Start by thinking of ways you can be more honest in your daily life, like when you talk to people or make decisions. Commit to these virtues and watch as they build a strong, unwavering confidence in you. Adopting this Stoic practice will not only make your life better, but it will also have a positive effect on those around you, creating a ripple effect of trust and goodness. By practicing virtue and integrity, you build a foundation for a life. Answer number 3. Do daily reflection as part of your plan to improve yourself. Being tough supports the practice of daily reflection as an important tool. If you use this method every day, like by meditating or writing in a journal, it helps you really think about your actions and how they match up with your personal virtues. For example, a manager might think about how she led her team each day. Did she be kind and assertive? Did she give them constructive feedback and support when they needed it? By thinking about these questions, she can see both her strengths and the areas she needs to work on. Getting better. The Stoic Emperor. Marcus Aurelius regularly practiced this form of reflection. He wrote in his meditations, "When you wake up in the morning, think of what a precious privilege it is to be alive, to breathe, to think, to enjoy, to love." His words remind us to value and think about our daily experiences and our ability to grow in virtue every day. How often do you stop and think about what you've done today? Do you recognize your successes and failures? Being open about doing this practice not only makes you more aware of what you're doing, but it also makes you stronger and more sure of yourself. Daily reflection helps us see what we've done well and face our flaws with confidence, which leads to ongoing personal growth. I urge you to follow this serious advice. Every night, take a few minutes to think about your day, what you did well, what you could do better, and how closely your actions matched your true values. This simple habit can help you gain important insights and live a happier, more peaceful, and more successful life. Let your reflections help you learn more about yourself and become more dedicated to your personal growth. Remember that the way to confidence is paved with self-awareness and growth, one day at a time. These Stoic solutions are not just philosophical ideas. They are also useful tools that can be used every day to help anyone build a stronger, more resilient sense of self. In our study of how behaviors that please other people have a big effect on confidence, we've seen how people put on masks to avoid being rejected and to get praise, which means they give up their real selves. Stoic philosophy, which focuses on virtue and having control over one's own mind, is a strong way to solve this problem. By practicing Stoicism, people can develop a sense of self. That isn't based on what other people think of them, but on their own self-awareness and honesty. As you think about how your life might change if you put your values ahead of what other people think, think about the freedom and confidence that could come from making that change. Daily self-reflection is a Stoic practice that can help you understand and change your actions and motivations. Let this be the first step toward a more authentic and fulfilling life. If you think these messages are helpful, please show your support by clicking like and leaving a comment with your thoughts or questions about Stoicism or your own life. Also, don't forget to share this video with your friends who are also looking for inner peace and strength. Last but not least, if you haven't already, click subscribe and turn on the bell so you don't miss any of the great videos we post in the future.